Testing, testing, testing. Can I have everybody clear the front of the stage, please? Clear the front of the stage. Please do not stand in front of the cameras because I have to make sure they got me in my new suit today. So please move from in front of the cameras. Thank you so much. Today, I told Mark I texted Mark last night about 11 o'clock and told him, I said, man, I'm real emotional right now. And I didn't know why, right? And I said, well, we're opening Uniroyal tomorrow. This has been an 18-year career for me. Under Faye, Derek Miller is here with us, brought me in 18 years ago, and we are now finally opening the Uniroyal site. Can I get a round of applause for that? Be a little inappropriate. I got a cigar in my hand. I don't care. It's 18 years later. It's a Riverwalk cigar. It's called the Riverwalk. You can get them at La Casa anytime you want to go down and grab a stick. But I just want to say good morning. For those of you who don't know, I am the Chief Financial Officer, Will Smith, for the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Thank you for joining us on this very chilly morning. I'm going to blame this morning on Mark because we could have been doing this in May, but he wanted to do it in October, so we're here. So thank you for coming down in this chilly weather to celebrate the opening of the final piece of the East Riverfront. Can I have a round of applause for that? It's a wonderful day to see so many of you here. Obviously there's some folks that started this journey with us that aren't here today. Rest in peace, David Page, was co-chair of the board. Rest in peace, Evelyn Johnston, who was a mentor of mine, was a board member. And rest in peace to Carl Senator Levin, who appropriated these dollars for us to do this project back in 2005, and we're finishing the last piece today in 2023. So thank you. We're going to kick off our remarks today with an amazing poem read by a very special teen poet from Detroit. Charisma Holly is a 15-year-old poet and artist who attends Detroit Edison Public School Academy Early College of Excellence. She is also a current member of the 2023 Inside Out Youth Performance Troupe. Her poem was inspired by the Langston Hughes poem, The Negro Speaks of the Rivers, and was written and performed for Inside Out's If Rivers Could Sing event hosted in partnership with the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. Charisma, please join us for your inspiring poem.
Good morning, everyone. This is Charisma Speaks of Rivers, after Langston Hughes. So I went to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse with my family, and they're not really Marvel fans. And see, the first time my sister saw Miles Morales, she went all wide eyes as if she had never seen melanin and magic collide in the same place at the same time, as if she didn't grow up in this city. She says if she could have one superpower, it would be teleportation. And her first destination would be some place with a whole lot of blue water. So I offered to take her down to the Riverwalk, and she gawks at the way the current flows so fast, and I laugh and remind her that she has been here before. That the water she sees has been around for centuries and still holds memories of factories and transportation. Water carries ships to its port in waves. Rivers can recall the call and responds by teaching the rest of the earth to sing along. And this community has lived long enough to learn to listen to the river's freedom song. And we never evolved to have teleportation, but we're still alive in this world and in this nation, and isn't that just as powerful? To say that I have been around for a long, long time. I have known rivers ancient and from it. I've learned to set my mind on resilience and then become it. I looked upon the Nile and raised the pyramids above it. My soul has grown deep like the rivers. I self-reflect whenever I see my complexion in my wavy blue mirror, and I remind myself that I too have been here. and I am still here. And isn't that just as powerful? That you are still here, still surviving and thriving. You are an extension of a legacy that can go back to the Congo, the Nile, and even stretch to the Mississippi. The name's you, the Euphrates. And these rivers have been here since the earliest daybreaks. And tomorrow, when the world wakes, they will still be here. And isn't that just as powerful? Thank you.
Charisma, that was an incredible poem. Thank you for sharing your poem with us, and that's going to be a tough act to follow, but I'll try. This has been an incredible year for the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy as we celebrate our 20th anniversary. Today is special for many reasons, and for those of you who have been with the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy for a long time, it's especially rewarding. Diane Hinton, 21 years with the Riverfront Conservancy, the Riverfront Conservancy's first employee. We are not just opening another section of the Riverwalk, but we are witnessing the completion of a bold vision that started with us in 2002, 2003, but we're standing on the shoulders of a lot of folks that came before us that had visions for the riverfront. Mount Elliott Park holds a special place in my heart. It was a space where I grew up as a kid. I used to come on dates down here at Mount Elliott Park. Yeah. And in my position as a CFO, closely with the project team, I worked closely with the project team to transform Mount Elliott Park into a vision and a beautiful space for kids. It was one of the historical events that took place in Michigan. It was the first time that MDOT had partnered with a nonprofit, and then Matt Cullen went and stole it and took it over to the Q line. But that's fine, Matt. I won't hold that against you. But I was the originator of that partnership. So it is my honor, and it has always been my honor to MC for this event and the Riverfront Conservancy, and to introduce several individuals and organizations that have played a significant role with this project. I'll move right along. I know everyone is anxious to cut the ribbon. I'm anxious to light my cigar and explore the new promenade. Our next speaker doesn't require much introduction, but he deserves a tremendous amount of credit for crafting this vision, for creating the organizational relationships that have brought us to this moment, and leading us in our fundraising campaign, and just being a flat-out mentor. You know him. You all love him. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce my chairman, Mr. Matt Cullen.
All right. Thank you, Will. Good morning, everybody. It's a great day to be out here. As Will said, it's been a while working on this. Even the mayor gave me a shot this morning and said, boy, it's taken a while, but it's been, it's 20 years. 20 years ago, we started talking about what we could do out here on the riverfront. We were at the Renaissance Center about 20 years ago. We unveiled the vision. We thought we could go the entire span from the Joe Louis Arena at the time down to the Gabriel Richard Park, Belle Isle. And you know, we're here today to celebrate that incredible outcome. Many of the people, as I look out here today, are people that were with us that entire time, which is incredible as well. Our original vision, 3.5 miles of perpetual public access, linked parks the entire way, something that would transform our community, something that would transform economic development in the entire area, and we're really excited that we've been able to pull it together. So stealing one of the mayor's phrases, our journey from blight to beauty and vision to reality ends today. And great outcome for everybody. So round of applause for that, please. You know, someone asked me the other day what emotions I was experiencing as we came to the conclusion of this thing. And I said, look, 3 probably: excitement, pride, and gratitude. Excitement because we've been working on this thing for a long time, and this piece of property was kind of a bottleneck for us. It stopped us from getting from downtown to Belle Isle. 3.5 million visitors last year, but we couldn't connect. If you wanted to connect, you had to go out to Jefferson, walk around. It wasn't working at all, and now we're going to be able to do that. And soon with the completion of the West Riverfront, and then beyond that, the Joe Louis Greenway, got lots of folks from the city here that are involved with that. The entire city is going to connect to the riverfront and to Belle Isle, which is incredible. My sense of pride comes from the fact that we got it done. The idea wasn't really complicated. It's done a lot of places, but getting it done here was really hard, and it took us a long time. There have been, dreams and drawings about what the riverfront could look like for 150 years, right? And but it never was able to get pulled together. But we did it. We got it done. Great sense of pride in that regard, and I think in doing it, we really changed our city and our community forever. And so, pride in that regard. But last, that really leads to the third emotion, which is gratitude. It really did take a village to get this done. I'm so incredibly grateful as I look out to the folks here that have been a part of it every step of the way. And so I'm going to take a few minutes, and it is a 20-minute journey, so give me a couple minutes to get done with it. But I want to thank a lot of the key people that have been involved. Let me start by asking our board members, current and past, to stand or raise your hand or wave and be celebrated, because an incredible organization of people that have gotten this done. Best board in the city, best board in the country. I mean, we're the best Riverwalk in the United States. We must have the best board. So just a tremendous job. I was going to acknowledge my wife as an honorary board member, but I don't know. I haven't seen her yet. So if she's here... Oh, there she is. She's back there. Somebody's waving a flag back there. So a round of applause for my wife, who's tolerated my engagement in this for the last 25 years. I will acknowledge a couple of people, but I did want to take a second to look backwards to the beginning here. Early board members and leaders. Derek Miller is here. So Derek, please stand and get recognized. Derek was my co-chair for many years as we got this going, did a terrific job. Will already acknowledge David Page, but vice chair really put the discipline in front of us of making sure that if we build it, we could take care of it, and that we'd be able to sustain this thing going forward. So, and then of course Carl Levin, who has not only provided the money but provided the leadership and the vision and the mentorship for me. I'm not sure if Faye Nelson, she was hoping to be here. I'm not sure if Faye's here, but she deserves a round of applause wherever she is, because she did an incredible job and was, my partner in crime for many years before Will joined. Our first project leader and our current project leader and somebody who's been around even longer than Diane Hinton, Karen DePerry. Where's Karen? There's Karen. All right. She is just, she has spent literally tens of thousands of hours in community meetings and design meetings and so on. And she's been with us for that entire period of time. I told Terry Radigan today that Karen must be the longest tenured loan executive in the history of corporations, because she's been doing this for 25 years as a GM employee. So thank you for that. Karen's part of an incredible conservancy team. They're all going to have a chance to get recognized. I know Mark will, but let me start by saying Mark Wallace, Will Smith, Cassie Brensky, an incredible group that make hard things look easy. So wouldn't happen without you guys. Now, clearly, it takes a lot of people to make it happen. There are three organizations, though, that were there at the beginning and really provided the leadership and kind of, I don't know what the right word is, maybe the heft to get this thing done. Because, as I said, a lot of times people had put this vision forward, but it couldn't get done. These three groups came together to get it done. They really became the founding partners of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. We're going to hear from representatives from each of them as we go forward. But first, I'd like to start by acknowledging my former colleagues at General Motors as the first founding partner. Simply put, the Riverwalk wouldn't exist without the investment of General Motors. When GM bought the Renaissance Center in 1996, they were determined to open up the Renaissance Center for all and to make it more welcoming. Their investment, as they did the Winter Garden and then the GM Plaza, represents a tremendous gift to the city of Detroit. Really importantly, too, that GM donated the first half mile of the Riverwalk to this fledgling conservancy. I mean, we didn't have an office. We didn't have anything. We didn't have a mailing address. We didn't have much. They gave us the first half mile of it, and it set a precedent that everybody for this entire span could have confidence that they could do it and that we would take care of, be good stewards of the property. Remarkable act of leadership from a global corporation. We really owe GM a debt of gratitude. Thank you to CEO Mary Barra, former CEO Rick Wagner, Terry Radigan, who's here today, John Blanchard, Debbie Homik-Hoagie, the entire GM team. Round of applause for General Motors. Our second founding partner is the Kresge Foundation. We wouldn't be standing here without their visionary investment of over $50 million for the transformation of the Detroit Riverfront. By far their largest grant at the time, and it really became the foundation of our philanthropic campaign, which in turn has catalyzed already over $2 billion worth of economic development along the Detroit Riverfront. Lots of folks at the Kresge Foundation were part of that. I certainly want to acknowledge Rip Rapson, John Marshall, Laura Trudeau, and Wendy Jackson for their leadership in this project. Lastly, but certainly not least, I want to acknowledge the City of Detroit, which obviously played a critical role in the property since day one, making available important parcels, pieces of property along the riverfront, taking the lead on relocating the cement silos, tearing down the old buildings and so on that litter the riverfront. City also rebuilt sidewalks and roads in the East Riverfront District, played a pivotal role in the development of the DeQuinder Cut, and recently opened one of our newest neighborhood connections, Dennis Archer Greenway, and Mayor Archer's here somewhere, so a round of applause for Mayor Archer as well. There he is. Lots of folks in the city to thank, really too many of them because of all the involvement, but I saw Marcia Brune here the other day. She was terrific at the beginning and helping us get things organized. George Jackson, I think, is here today. George. And George was really important role with property acquisition and the silos. And to fast forward to today, and under Mayor Duggan's leadership, Brad Dick, Megan Elliott, Hassan Beydoun are really driving things forward on a daily basis for us. So great support from our founding partners, and certainly Mayor Duggan has had a profound impact on the riverfront as well. When he came into office, he immediately embraced the vision that everything south of Atwater is going to be public space. I mean, for a long period of time, there's a lot of debate. People were pushing, hey, there's going to be development right up to the water's edge. And the mayor and his team said, no, that's going to be north of Atwater, which is really critical. That allowed for Milliken State Park to expand. It allowed for the development of the Robert Valade Park. And it just set a tone for we're going to have public access to the waterfront. This piece behind us, we could have been done with this a long time ago, but there was a lot of political roadblocks in getting it untied. You know, there was a sense that we had to wait for the development of the project itself to take place before we could do the river's edge. And the mayor came in and said, hey, look, if you guys are ready to go, let's go. Let's get it done. And that's really what unlocked this. So, Mayor, thank you for everything that you and your team have done. And let me invite you up, please, and make a few remarks.
Well, good morning. It's been a 20-year dream to connect downtown to Belle Isle along the riverfront, and today that dream has come true. And I'm really proud to have been the mayor that has partnered for the last 10 years to get this done, but I want to express the gratitude of Detroiters, to the Riverfront Conservancy, to Mark Wallace, to Matt Cullen, to Faye Nelson, to General Motors, to every one of the foundations and corporations that made this possible. Last week, I was at a major conference in Chicago with a bunch of corporate executives, and I showed them pictures of this, and all they wanted to say is, could we get your corporate leadership here in Chicago? Now, whoever thought we'd see that day, that Chicago will be looking for us for guidance on waterfront development. But the truth is, for Detroiters, it's been a lot longer than a 20-year dream. My generation, my father's generation growing up in Detroit, we didn't have a riverfront. Detroit's riverfront belonged to factories and warehouses and cement silos. And with the ribbon cutting today, it's an historic day because now the Detroit riverfront truly belongs to the people of this city. Thank you for everybody that made it possible.
Another round of applause for Mayor Duggan. I mean, as as Matt said, again, 18 years we've been working on this project. Mayor Duggan comes in and said, hey, if you guys are ready to go, get it done. And that's exactly what we did. Thank you for all your support, Mayor Duggan, and thank you for your leadership for the city. Next, I want to introduce one of the other partners that started this thing with a $50 million grant. And I don't think people realize how important that was at that time, is for a foundation to give $50 million to an organization that was just getting started. They put benchmarks in the $50 million, but it was a tough task. I mean, but we had some heavy hitters in the room. We had Matt Cullen, we had Miriam Nolan, we had David Page, John Stroh, David Campbell. I mean, we had some heavy hitters in the room, but for them to take a chance on us, thank you, because we would not be here without that first $50 million. So next, let me introduce Miss Wendy Jackson from the Kresge Foundation.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much, Will, and thank you to the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. It is truly an honor to be here with you this morning on behalf of the Kresge Foundation. And it's just great to be here today to see how history and faith collide and celebrate the expansion of such a vital public space for Detroit. This is truly a reaffirmation that Detroiters believe in the public at a time when there is so much to drive us into private bubbles where we're probably even more divided than ever. But this is truly a testament to what a difference it makes when we do come together. So it's great to be out in this new public space, standing side by side with all of you. And I must give thanks to my colleague, Laura Trudeau, who was with the foundation and made the request for the original $50 million. And I'm not sure if she's here today or not, but please, I want to make sure we acknowledge her. So as you know, Kresge is on the verge of marking its centennial. Next year, we'll be 100 years old as a foundation in this community. And Sebastian Kresge, who was founder of the SS Kresge department store chain, marked a century of commercial success with the creation of a foundation. And our mission is pretty simple. It's to promote human progress. And so we've always made significant grants here in our hometown, but we increased our commitment in the 1990s and began taking our responsibility here even more seriously beginning in the early 2000s. And arguably, no single grant in our portfolio, and trust me, I know all of them, no single grant in our portfolio from that era has done so much to define the foundation and transform the city as our original $50 million gift to the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy in 2002. That $50 million matching grant was the largest single grant in the foundation's history to that point. So today, this would calculate to about $85 million. So it's great to see how the call for matching dollars was successful. It inspired a broad coalition of foundations and individuals and corporations that have invested millions in philanthropic support. And so one measure of the success here is that many of us will have a hard time remembering what this used to look like, except for such notable exceptions, of course, as Hart Plaza and what is now the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater and the Milliken State Park. Except for those pockets of beauty, the city's front porch was very different: empty warehouses, parking lots, and ruins of long-gone industry. So another measure of our success here today collectively is that many of us are too young to remember the wasteland that was once here. But that's how far we've come. So this is a good day to celebrate a 3.5-mile testament to what we can do when we find common purpose and bring that together for civic good. And this is a good day to bolster our confidence as a city. This is where we are. We're up to the challenge, and look forward to what's ahead. So on behalf of the Kresge Foundation, thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, for all of your generosity and your continued support. Our next partner is a very important partner, as they had been our landlord for a lot of years. I remember when I first started. Just so you understand, I started at the Riverfront Conservancy when I was 33. I'm currently 51. So when I first started the Riverfront Conservancy, we were in the GM building, and I think I drove a Suburban for probably 15 years because I didn't think I could get into the lot unless I had a GM car. So we really, really appreciate the support of General Motors. John Blanchard, who was my finance chair, congratulations on your retirement. It's my guy. He's been supporting me and mentoring me for the last 18 years. And I'd like to bring up Mr. Terry Radigan from General Motors to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Every time I'm with the Riverfront Conservancy, I am thanked profusely. And let me just say, on behalf of Mary and Mark and all the men and women of General Motors, you are most welcome. But I believe that we are the ones that should be thanking all of you. Let me explain. I moved into the Renaissance Center in 1996. Matt Cullen was there. Karen Cullen was there. A lot of other folks were there, among the first people to be there. My office is on the 29th floor, Tower 300. It faces east. I have had the best view of this renovation every day. I saw the silos come down. I saw the Riverwalk start to get laid. And you know what happened? People came out. Citizens of this great city came out, of this region. We had international visitors taking pictures, spending time with their families. It brought a vitality and an energy to our building that was priceless. And so we really feel a debt of gratitude to Mark, to Matt, to all the members of the Riverfront Conservancy, to Mayor Doug, and certainly to Wendy and the Kresge Foundation for their partnership. So again, I would say you're welcome, but more importantly, thank you.
Another round of applause from General Motors. Thank you. Thank you so much, Terry, for all of your support. Let's have a round of applause for all of our three partners. I mean, thank you. Again, we would not be here without your support. Next, I'd like to introduce my guy. He is currently the fearless leader of the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy team. When Faye left, there was a little apprehension about, what direction the organization was going to be in and go in. And I don't think a lot of people can understand at that time, right, there was no Ralph C. Wilson Park. Those things weren't thought of. We owned the property. We had done some renovations to it, but those things weren't thought of at that particular time. There was no thought of Southwest Greenway. I think people, because they're finished and complete now, think that had always been on the plate for the Riverfront Conservancy, and it hadn't been, right? Uniroyal, I never, ever thought that it would be completed. I remember myself, Ray Scott and MDEQ were standing out there, and we were talking about all of the remediation that needed to be done, and there was just, again, so I just want to frame the picture for you that these things weren't thought of at that particular time. Then we get this amazing leader that has been with us now, President and CEO for 9 years, and his vision and leadership are transforming this riverfront before our very eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Wallace.
Love you too. Wow, y'all snuck up on me. Good morning, everyone. And as Matt said, it's just such a moment of gratitude. Over the past 20 years, the Detroit Riverfront has really changed our community in very profound ways. We've seen previously forgotten industrial sites like this one transformed into beautiful parks and trails. We've seen relationships among board members from the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy lead to other regional and citywide initiatives. And we've really seen the Riverwalk change the way that people interact with each other. People love this place. You all love this place. And with the opening of this final section of the East Riverfront, we're going to see even more people spending time together on the Detroit River. And I'd like to thank a few people who have put a lot of work into making this happen. First, you've heard a lot from him today, and it's good because he's a special guy. One of the most dedicated leaders in our city, I think one of our unsung heroes, our CFO, the world's greatest MC, Mr. William Smith. I'd also like to acknowledge the team at the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. We are a small team. And the tenure of some of our leadership is pretty remarkable. I'd like to acknowledge some of those folks. Already has been mentioned Karen Slaughter-Duperry, who was our first project manager. I'd like to acknowledge our Chief Development Officer, who I think pound for pound is more successful than perhaps any Chief Development Officer in the country right now, Cassie Marie Brensky. Other leaders as well. It's not easy to keep this place clean, safe, and beautiful. And one of our earliest employees, our earliest hires, Mr. Mac McCracken, who has been out here every single day. I'd also like to acknowledge a group of people we ask a lot of. We are a group of 17, and to make this happen, it requires a group of about 300 plus. So I'd like to thank the volunteers at the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy. You're the best. This project was very complex because of the history of industry, and I'd like to acknowledge two people who had a lot to do with helping us navigate a very important partnership with the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. Steve Nadeau from Honigman and Dr. John Hardig, one of our board members. And I'd also like to thank the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation for their leadership in pointing us west. Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Park is going to be incredible, and I can't wait to celebrate with all of you in about 2 years when that opens. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge our project management team, the folks who have hired the architects, the folks who have managed the contractors, two very special people, Daryl Greer and Rhonda Collins. Thank you so much for your leadership. A lot of people don't know this, but MDOT has been one of our most important partners. They've helped us activate funds from the federal government through Senator Levin's earmark. They've worked on Mount Elliott Park, Robert C. Villade Park, the DDA parcel, and the Uniroyal Promenade. I'm not sure if anyone's going to remember anything specific that gets said here today, but I know this, that in 100 years from now, the Detroit Riverwalk will still be here, and that's quite a legacy for all of us. So with that, I'd like to bring up my friend, our board member, Robert Davis from MDOT.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Mark. I do have some written remarks, but I'm going to not use those today because I'm the last speaker. But I want to recognize the first speaker, Charisma. You set the tone. Eleanor said, our future belongs to those that believe in the magic, in the power, and in the specialness of the dream. And this today is a dream come true. For all of us, we will enjoy something that we can, as Mark just said, enjoy for 100 years. I too, Mayor, come from a time where we didn't have a lot of opportunity. This suit I'm wearing today, I bought on Livernois and 7 Mile in my neighborhood because I could walk to it. This shirt I'm wearing, I bought on 7 Mile in Livernois because I could walk to it. The exercise that I get every day, and all of us that can enjoy every day, happens now, Matt, because we can walk on it. This place becomes an interaction between one of God's natural resources that empowers us to dream, empowers us. Detroit put the automobile on the map Detroit put the Motown sound on the map. Detroit put techno music on the map, on the world stage. I believe, Charisma, that men and women like you, young men and women, will set a new course for Detroit. And that, what I say, what the scripture says, this I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope. So as I take my seat, I want to thank a few people from MDOT that are here today. Mark Sweeney, Kerry Warren, and Shelley Navoyski were the 3 engineers that helped to manage those 5 projects that Mark talked about. But we're also pleased to say from the earmark, Will, that, and Will would tell us all the time, Robert, make sure that we spend, we don't lose that money. He said that to me 10 times. So we're happy to report that all of it is spent. So again, the dream for all of us as we get ready to walk over there is I want you to think and look. As Maggie Porter, there was a friend of mine named Maggie Porter who ran the Detroit Harmony Playhouse. And she said, Robert, look out and just dream. So I ask you today to look out as you walk across this path. This is just the beginning of the connection that will take us all the way down to Villade Park and beyond, all the way down to the Wilson Park, and all the way down further and further to the Gordie Howe Bridge eventually. And so it's the dream. It's the dream that propels the action of this great conservancy. And so I ask you, if you can, to give to the conservancy. Make a donation to the conservancy. Let's lift it up so it will be here for years to come, that we can all sustain the dream that you gave us, Charisma. Thank you and God bless.
All right, we're wrapping up here. What a special day, though. The sun came out. It's amazing. Thank you again, Robert, for all the leadership at MDOT. We're going to cut this ribbon in about 2 minutes, but before we do that, as we're walking to Gabriel Rochard Park, I'd like to point out to you that today we're also celebrating the naming of the Christopher Stroh Plaza at that park in memory of Christopher, whose family has committed a significant gift to the mission of the Conservancy. I'd like to recognize Christopher's family, including John, Vivian, and Elizabeth. Thanks for being here with us today. And finally, if I may, I need to say one more thing about our special chairman of the board. I did the math once, and if you assume that Matt has donated, he is a volunteer, at least 6 hours a week, which I think is light, since 2003, which he started before 2003, I think Matt has donated at least 4 full years of full-time work to this project. It's unbelievable. Matt, thank you so much for your leadership on this. I've worked closely with Matt for 10 years, and I know this about him. He does not take as much credit as he deserves. So if I can have one more round of applause for Mr. Matt Cullen. All right, we have a special group from the Detroit School of Arts, drumline and auxiliary team. They're going to lead us in a parade. Let's go cut this ribbon.